So I was saying I learned this new phrase called predatory inclusion.
Okay.
And I feel like that's what happened to us. Like we were assimilated and not just into like white communities, white culture and stuff, but I feel like there's this concept of like POC, person of color, and like we're all the same and we're all in this together. That's not true. No. Yeah, that's not true. Like our problem is anti-blackness and anti-black American sentiment, which anyone can perpetuate against us, anybody.
Which they do
all the time. But there's this idea of predatory inclusion, which is like, well, you have to, almost like you have to support me or else you hate me.
Yeah, no, it's manipulative though.
It's manipulative.
And then they like to act like they don't know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
That's manipulative as fuck.
And that's why I'd be like, listen, you can't tell me I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody.
No, not at all.
I don't think it's okay for people to be trying to stomp out some old ass Asian man. Like, no, that's not cool. Like, why are y'all doing that? But like at the same time, as a black American, that's also not my job.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
not my responsibility to save you.
No, it's not my responsibility.
Because obviously, if you look at being a black American, it's not the world's responsibility to save us or help us or help put us in a place of.
But the thing is, historically, anytime black Americans have gotten anything, it's literally helped everyone. It has literally helped everyone. Like from our civil rights movement, got laws passed that opened up the doors for immigration for everyone. Our civil rights movement got voting rights passed that opened up the door for everyone to be able to vote. Our civil rights, even if you go back before civil rights, the women's feminist movement and like the suffragettes and stuff, they started fighting for the right for women, aka white women, to vote because there was discussions about Negroes, aka black men, black American men, getting the right to vote. And these white women, this was like 1800s. These white women were like, if these niggers get the right to vote before us, it's going to be a problem. And so they literally launched that's how feminism.
And that's someone who like represents being a black American. I probably have the most issues with white women.
I have a lot of issues with white women.
White women are probably the most entitled.
Man, Katie said the same thing.
Like the most entitled. Because like doing my job.
She said she feels they're worse than the men.
Oh, definitely worse. Like at least with men, I feel like. Just speaking on a man, like I guess even if they see you as like maybe you're like a little black boy or this little nigger kid or whatever, like the fact that you're a man makes it easier to like be around. If they do, and I don't want to say like women, like I don't want to make this thing about women being more emotional, but I do think that like especially dealing with white women, there's like this emotion of like there's a lot of emotions behind what they're dealing with, which ultimately is what they're dealing with in themselves, obviously, but. Yeah, white women, man, like I have my job. I have to like go in people's backyards, doing contract work. I have to go in people's backyards. White women always
That is scary. Do you feel safe? Do you feel concerned?
Oh, most definitely. Like see, the thing is, like I started working doing contract work when I was like 21, 22, and it's been on and off. I'm in it, I'm out it, and it's because the reason why I'm in it now and the reason why like I kind of struggle mentally with certain things is Texas. Everybody has guns.
Everywhere we go, they have signs that say you can't bring guns in here.
Every household has a gun, which I'm not against protecting yourself. I'm not against.
I'm not either. I'm not against that. I'm not against.
But I am against dealing with like white people who can't control their emotions, who also has things from like their past generations that's in terms of hatred that's with them.
And they're armed.
Yeah, so like when you go to a white person's house, a white lady, you knock on the door. Obviously, you're in your full work gear. You have your ID. You're in these bright colors because you're obviously working. And she'll know you're not like a thug or a gangster trying to like rob her or anything. But she literally won't let you in the house. You have to call these technicians who are all white. All these technicians are white. Just to come to the door, talk to her for 5-10 minutes, make her feel more comfortable, and then now she's talking to you like none of this shit's ever fucking happened. White women give me the most fucking trouble ever in life. I don't know.
I agree. I feel like...
Which is why you'll never see me in a relationship with a white woman.
Yeah.
Not to say that I don't think, like, I haven't seen an attractive white woman. Not to say that, like, being a man, like, I might have my thoughts.
It's only two attractive white women in the world.
Who are the attractive...
Young Britney Spears.
Britney Spears, bad. Shout out to Britney because her dad's a fucking
Free devil. Britney. Right. We was just talking about
free
this.
Free Britney, her dad's a devil.
Free Britney. and fuck all her family members, and fuck Justin Timberlake ass too.
Yeah, I like your 2 albums, but you tripping.
Fuck you. Britney and Megan Fox. That's it.
Britney, Megan Fox.
Facts. That's all. Those are the only attractive white women in the world. Like I have nothing to give white women. What I said to Katie when we talked about this, I said I feel like white women are worse than white men because I feel like white women like to pretend that they're on your side, or they like to pretend. White women like to pretend like they know what it's like. I know what it's like to be discriminated against because I'm a woman, and not to say that like they don't experience sexism and misogyny, because they do, but like this whole like Maria Taylor and like Rachel Nichols like ESPN situation, right? Like Rachel Nichols tried to say that Maria Taylor only got her spot because she's black, but then she tried to be like, oh, ESPN, y'all try to increase your record on racial diversity, which I've experienced as a female, by the way. Like, I know what it's like to be discriminated against. Like, bitch, you're saying something racist. No, like, you're saying something racist right now, but you're still trying to make yourself seem like some type of victim.
No, she's making it about her.
Because you're a woman. You don't even have the empathy to understand that the girl you're talking about, Maria Taylor, is both a woman and black. So, it was like, it didn't even sink into her brain that Maria Taylor is also a woman.
Yeah, no, the racism
you're both
like
you're both women. Like, you literally put yourself in a different category because you just said, which I've also experienced as a woman. Maria Taylor's also a woman, and she's also black. But you trying to make it seem like she only got here because she's black. But yet, during all the hashtag Me Too shit, you was all over everywhere talking about Me Too, ESPN needs to hire more women.
She got to where she was at because she's black.
You got to where you're at because you're trying to say that this black woman only got to where she's at because she's black. But in reality, you have also benefited from being from like from nepotism. You have benefited from being white, and you also benefited yourself from being like, well, you guys need to hire more women. So why was it fine when you told ESPN they need to hire more women, so they hired you, but now they're saying they need to hire more black people, so they hired this black woman, but now that's not fine. So it was fine for you, but it's not fine for her just because she's black. And that's what's fucking annoying about white women. They have no self-awareness, like. And they really swear like that they're being discriminated against, or like they know what it's like. And it's just like, no, like.
I mean, let's get that out the way. We're all experiencing like being discriminated against. You know what I'm saying?
Privilege operates on a sliding scale.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to fall into that cycle of like comparing who's struggling the
Olympics.
most. Yeah, like. No, fuck
well,
that.
I mean, but if we did, it'd be black American women, and especially dark-skinned ones.
Black American women are definitely treated
like
worse.
Maria Taylor is a black American woman that's dark-skinned. Like, and now she's leaving ESPN because of that. And it's just like there was just no self-awareness at all. And I feel like this is something that comes up repeatedly with white women. Because I bet you, like, if you had said something to these white women about what you did was racist, they would try to play the victim. Like, well, as a woman, I have to be sure. And you're like, well, and I'm a woman. So, like, as a woman, I don't like having, if I'm home, I don't like being home alone. And I don't even like having a landlord. And I know the landlord.
Yeah. But
my landlord is a white man. And I don't like the landlord coming in when it's just me home alone. Because, like, yes, as a woman, there is this inherent concern about getting raped or getting attacked. I don't like to walk under underpasses. I won't walk alone in the dark. That's just something I have to be aware of as a woman. But like white women, they just like to play both sides. Like, they love to flex their white privilege, but then they also, when you call them out on their racist bullshit, they love to be like, no, I'm a victim. Yeah, I'm a victim because I'm a woman, like at least white men, they know where they stand, I guess.
For sure.
They know where they stand as both white and male.
I always feel like white men, they're more comfortable with their racism.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They're like, because I've actually had like a cool conversation with like even though he never said like I was racist. Like, you can look at him, white dude from Mississippi, the way he held himself. My grandfather's from Mississippi, and so it's like, he's experienced so much racism in his childhood and his life. But with white men, they're definitely more comfortable. I think they're more so just like, they're racist, but they're also kind of like, ah, fuck it. Like, you know, there's like this.
They're secure.
Yeah.
They're secure in where they are because they feel like they're at the top of the food chain.
There's no worries whatsoever.
Yeah.
What they're doing.
They'll be in your face. They'll be right in your face with it.
And that's true because they wouldn't be so secure if they started. Because the thing about us, like in terms of reparations and things like that, like if all these things start happening in our favor, like that means everyone else's lives are going to change as well. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And so. Because maybe there's enough for all of us, you know. I think there is, but people aren't going to be able to be as greedy.
Jeff Bezos just literally shot himself into space.
That's what I'm saying.
So like there is enough money
so we start
for reparations.
So if we start taking money from Jeff Bezos and like all these other like white people, even like regular white people in the neighborhood, like there's definitely going to be this uproar of unhappiness, I guess.
There is, and I can't wait to see it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't wait for that because that means that we're actually doing something. But I don't feel like enough people, not talking about Black Americans, but just in terms of like other races. Like I don't feel like enough people are. And I'm not talking about posts. I'm not talking about what people are saying like on their phone. I'm actually talking about action and what they're doing in their everyday lives. I don't think enough people are really prepared on what can happen or what's going to happen in terms of because I believe in spiritual warfare as well, you know, and I think that plays a part. And we've had that discussion in terms of what we think this is, whether it's spiritual warfare, like cultural wars. I think it's a little bit of all of it.
I do too. Yeah.
I'm actually like a very spiritual person and things like that, so I think a lot of this plays a part in terms of like where we come from, not in terms of like, oh, everybody was born in Africa. You know, it's not just in terms of that, but where we come from, like on a spiritual level. And, where we come from, like in the cosmos or whatever, however you want to say that. Like, I think all that plays a part in our struggle, in our success, and our gifted abilities and our ability to impact the world as we do. I think all that is spiritual, you know, and I think we actually need to start talking about spirituality more so, and not just in terms of like religion. It's not to disrespect.
Yeah, because you said you're from a Christian family, so how does that? But this is not something Christian.
Yeah, my great grandparents were Catholic, and then they made that transition to being Christians, and so like I guess my whole family on my mom's side they made that transition with them, and my mom is like a spiritual warrior, like to the core.
Queen said the same thing.
Like that. Yeah, I don't know. I think that all this is really. I think all this. The root is a spiritual thing. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to make this like this magical thing. I think it's more. I think as a society and as just the world in general, I think we don't do enough talking about like that spiritual part. Like we talk about like religion. We talk about like, okay, this person might be a Christian or this person is, you know, Muslim or whatever. But I think just from like a spiritual base or like a rooted spiritual place of not praying to this, of whether it's Jesus or Christ or whoever, I think we need to start questioning things more in terms of like, because my perspective like on Jesus and like Christ and things like that, like what we did what Black Americans did with it, what Black people did with like Christ and like Christianity, I don't think was supposed to like, I don't think that was in the plan for. So
you think we deviated?
I think we did what we always do, whether it's positive or negative. I think we take what we're given, and we create our own. And within creating our own, we have our pros and we have our cons. But I think we naturally, just speaking for Black Americans in general, like we move different. We can talk about like the language and we can talk about all those things which do play a part. But ultimately, it's like if you just focus on Black Americans and if you just sit and really take the time to compare us to Africans, which personally I don't like being like compared to Africa, you know what I'm saying? Like I roll my eyes every time like someone like I talk to my sister and I'm like, you know, obviously the whole Atlantic slave trade and stuff like things like that. But even with that, I'm like, it's never fuck Africa. I don't ever want everybody to think that I'm saying fuck Africa, but it's like, man, fuck what y'all talking about. Cause
we're different people now.
Yeah, because it's like, I'm not lost. Whenever I've seen a lot of Black foreigners, I've seen a lot of, I even dated a girl who was from Toronto, you know, Caribbean. She was Trini and Bajan. And, you know, I asked her what was her, like, opinion on, like, what was her people or her family or whatever, people that she hung out with, what was, like, how did they view us? And she was like, you know, not all of you which it pissed me off. She was like, well, we kind of like look at you guys do as like you're lost, and I wanted to reach through the phone like.
It's just like, but how?
But how are we? Well, we're lost. How though? Like, explain like how are we lost? Because
they landed in the Caribbean also because of like the slave trade. So it's very interesting how that plays out.
That's what I'm saying. I think all that shit is like a white man's mindset in terms of like.
It is.
Because to even fix.
I concur.
Because like I'm one of those people, you can't just say whatever you want to me. So like to even fix your mouth and to tell me that I'm lost, it automatic like.
That's so disrespectful. That's such a disrespectful statement.
It's one of the most disrespectful things you could ever tell someone or their community or their people. Like, I'm not going to say, like, I have white friends or I have Asian friends, because a friend to me is somebody who knows, like, you on a personal level, like on a core level. So I would never say that I have these friends, but I do have acquaintances. I do have people that I'm cool with. But ultimately, like, man, like, from a subconscious point, they can tell me they love me. They can tell me they fuck with me as much as they fuck with me. Or whatever, in terms of like positive vibes or whatever, but ultimately from a subconscious point, you don't respect me, you don't love me.
Or there's this idea that you're the exception.
Yeah,
that the rest of us are ghetto trash or some shit.
And that's another thing that really like kind of fucked me up growing up. And I know at the end of the day, even though I might not be the most smartest in the room, I might not make the best decisions. I know that I can relate to being a Black American. I know that a Black American is going to love me. And I said I never got like support or like a helping hand from another race, but I'm saying like I feel at home being a Black American, and I resonate, and this is what I represent. And I feel like a lot of these races, they don't like us. You know, they don't like us. They don't. All of these races, not a lot of these, all of these races. Even though you have
other ethnicities.
Yeah, even though you have people in these communities who fuck with us, ultimately like that's a small number compared to like.
And a lot of those people, too, will be ostracized. They will be ostracized by, like, their quote-unquote own people if they fuck with us. Like, there's obviously this idea that we're supposed to be down at the bottom. And if people perceive you as not being at the bottom...
And they're okay with us being at the bottom.
And they're okay. They love us being at the bottom because they can use us as a stepping stone to get up.
Which is why I would say I don't have any friends of another race. It's because, like, if you was really my friend, if you really did respect and care for me, you would... acknowledge what the fuck this is
going on.
You know what I'm saying? But you're not going to, you know, for the most part. But
so I was also raised in a Christian, a very Christian family. Like my mother's side of the family is not religious, but my father's side of the family is actually all Jehovah's Witness, with the exception of my grandmother and one of my aunts and my father, obviously, because my grandmother's child. And my grandmother is a minister. And so I was raised Christian and the rest, but I was also very familiar with Jehovah's Witness and the Kingdom Hall and stuff like that. But like I went to Christian camp. I was raised in the church type shit. Raised in the church. But I don't really consider myself to be religious now or super into Christianity now. I don't really believe in it like that. But I do feel like we are like a spiritual people. And I think it's hard for a lot of Black Americans because I think a lot of Black Americans do feel or innately feel or, you know, feel like we are a spiritual people or feel connected to something or feel like something, like it's the universe or like it's something. And even for us to have survived what we've been through and to even still be here is like a miracle. And so I think there's a lot of people that are trying to reconcile that feeling of spirituality and that we are a miracle with also feeling like they don't believe in Christianity or even that Christianity is something that's actively harmed us.
See, I feel... This is what I believe. I believe that Black Americans, but Black people all over the world, because I think Christianity is what, like 80%, like Black people all over the world, maybe like 70.
Is it? I thought that most people were Muslims, but
I seen maybe I read something. It could be right. I don't want to say it's a fact, but I think that as a people we've been spiritually manipulated and bamboozled, and I also think that as a people we don't know. Like you can talk to a Black American, right, and you can see this. You can see the swag, you can see the sauce, the drip, the confidence. You can see all of that, but you can also see that even with all that, whoever's giving that energy off still doesn't really know how much power they hold within, or you know what I'm saying. Like I think as a people, we don't really understand like what we're dealing with or what we possess, like in terms of our DNA and like our bloodlines and even like spiritual. Like I think all that meets somewhere, but I just don't think that we have like this. We have a grip on like the church, right? We have a grip on going like the Bible study. We have a grip on like praying to Christ and jumping and doing all these things, which I do think that there's good things that come from it. You know, I believe that you can get some type of whatever, you know, peace from that. But I think
whatever you get.
Yeah, whatever you get from that. But I don't think that we don't like ask that question of like, okay, we know that we're spiritual. We know that we're supported by a source, right? Whether it's like a spiritual entity or whatever, we know that we have like this willingness and we have this ability to heal, to survive these situations. But it's like we're kind of like we're given this and then we go in that direction, but we're not like doing it in a freely way. We're like following this blueprint, and so I think that's what is kind of fucking us up and stopping us, or one of the things, because there's so many things that's getting in the way of us being liberated. But I think that we need to grasp and we need to understand that like what we have and what we're dealing with and what's inside us is bigger than what
like an organized religion.
Yeah, because I would think once you really accept and see that somebody isn't for you or for your family, you know what I'm saying, then that should be all the more reason to you know, get active and really be about it. And again, we also need trust in our community. There's a lot of trust. We don't trust each other. You know.
Is your Creole side of the family, like, are they Catholic or do they?
There's some that are Catholic. There's some that are Christian. There's some that aren't in anything. I only talk to. I'm not scared to say I don't like people. Like, if I don't fuck with this person, I don't fuck with everybody on my mom's side. I don't really like. I'm a friendly dude. I'm very cool as fuck, but I'm also like, nah, fuck that person. That's just, it is what it is. You know, I've accepted that a while ago, but I only talk to, like, you know, besides my grandparents, a couple cousins and uncles, you know, and they're all different. Everyone's different.
Everyone's
you know,
different, yeah.
They have their own. But I know from what I experienced, a lot of self-hate within the.
Yeah, when you said that you were like the darkest one, I was gonna say, has like colorism been a problem?
I mean, oh man, like my mom, she would tell stories about her sister, my aunt, in terms of like being hatred towards them, just, you know, saying mean things to her and whatnot. And I dealt with the same thing when it came to like her son, like, oh, you're dark, you're chubby, girls don't like you, they like me because I'm light skinned and I have green eyes. And it's like a lot of that shit will fuck with you, you know, as a kid, and it'll make you hate your family, and it'll make you feel like you don't. And that's another reason why I've came to a point of like, fuck what y'all talking about, fuck how y'all feel about me, because I know what racism has done to me internally, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I know that even before I came across your YouTube channel, I didn't come across anybody. You were not coming across anybody that was like, this is what it is, this is what I represent, fuck what you talking about. You weren't coming across anybody like that. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people that I know wasn't. Even when I show my family members like your videos, and how you said like all white people are racist, I'm in the house like, yes, yes, all white people racist.
Thank you.
And I'm like, all white people are racist. And my sister's like, I don't think all white people are racist, and I'm like, dude, like, just because someone tells you like they fuck with you as a person,
just because someone's nice doesn't mean they're not racist.
Yes, it doesn't mean they're not. And I think when you talk to people like this, they're so used to you not speaking this way to where they automatically take it as disrespect.
Yes, they can't handle it.
Yeah, but it's like, I'm not saying this to be disrespectful towards you. I'm saying this so you can stop fucking with me, because eventually you're gonna keep fucking with us, and we're gonna really turn this shit.
It's gonna be a problem.
And it's gonna be a real problem. And Kendrick Lamar, and I'm not a big fan of Kendrick Lamar, but one thing he talked about in his To Pimp a Butterfly album, he had like a Tupac interview at the end of it, and he was saying, like, he was just bringing up, at some point in time we're going to get tired of asking.
What we gonna do? Ask?
Ain't no more asking.
Ain't no more asking.
You know, and people say things like, oh, it was only 60 years ago when they were fighting for rights, and I'm like, that's a fucking long time. Like, I don't want to. Like, the fact that I have to deal with this shit in my lifetime, it pisses me off. Like, because really we shouldn't have to. And obviously life's not perfect. And we all have obstacles that we have to overcome, but we shouldn't have to deal with the things that we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't. We should never been enslaved in the first place.
I feel like it's a little bit hard for our generation because I don't know when your mother was born, but
she was born in 68.
So my mother was born in 67.
Okay.
And I think that especially for our parents and our parents' generation, I feel like our parents' generation was like the generation maybe of like optimists.
Yeah.
This idea of like, we had the civil rights movement in the 60s, especially our parents that were born like after that, you know.
Sure.
We had the civil rights movement in the 60s, and now we have our rights.
Yeah.
And now it's the 70s, and now it's the 80s and the 90s, and like everything's good, like everything's straight, like we're able to go to college, and we're able to get jobs, and we're able to do this, and like it's all good. And I think that for a lot of our parents that's in that age range, for a lot of them, there's like still a lot of that ideology. Like sometimes it's a struggle because for a lot of our parents, like it's just really still this ideology of like, no, you guys have like so many opportunities, or like, you know, things are fine type shit. And we're like, no, like we're not fine. We don't have like the way that you think that things are is not how things are. And also we're dealing with shit like late stage capitalism and like climate change, and like we're dealing with all this other type of shit that's also impacted by and exacerbated by anti-Black racism as well, and anti-Black American sentiment, globalization, technology, all these things. And so I think that it could be hard for us, people that are around our age, to have a lot of these type of conversations with family members and even with friends, because a lot of people are just so resistant. I don't know, like head in the sand. Like for me personally, for example, since I was raised in a very much Christian, like I literally used to spend whole entire summers with my grandmother. So like I was in church. I was in church every day of the week.
Those long days.
Yes, like I was in church every day of the week because my grandmother was the pastor. So me and my cousin was in church. Oh, let me stop. Yeah, so I was in church literally every day of the week. So kind of even with getting back to what you were saying earlier about how things from your childhood stick with you. It's hard for me, and I don't really consider myself a Christian, but sometimes it is hard for me to like see people talking bad about Christianity, because it's a part of me even still that's just like, no. But see, like you talk about my grandma, you know, but at the same time, my grandmother is like the most, like the concept of like what would Jesus do is really my grandma. Like my grandmother is the most warm, kind, generous. She doesn't gossip. She's always trying to help people. Like she feeds the homeless. Like she, like my grandmother, she worked for the UCC, the United Church of Christ.
Okay.
And her job was literally to like travel around. Anytime people thought that there was like corruption in their church, if their church was a part of the UCC, that would get reported to my grandmother. And my grandmother was a person
I didn't even know that was a job.
Yeah, that's a job. And my grandmother was like the person that would like go and investigate. So like if people say like the pastor's stealing the tithes.
Oh, that's dope though.
My grandmother's the person
so she about it.
Yeah, so my grandmother is the person that would go and be like, so what's going on? Like what's going on up in here? Like. And she just retired. She just retired last year, right before COVID, luckily. She retired. And she was living in Chicago, and she was, like, volunteering with the youth in Chicago. Like, she was the type of person that everybody's like, nah, like, don't nobody mess with her. Like, she's doing stuff for the youth. She's starting community gardens for the youth. She's doing art projects. Like, so it's even still now hard for me because I know for a fact that there are still Christians out there that's like really about it, like, and they trying to live a Christ-like life, and they're really trying to make things better for Black Americans, like, and my grandma's one of those people. But at the same time, like, I really don't believe in organized religion, and I do see the ways that it's been detrimental, and I even see, like, my grandmother low-key had a forced retirement, because there was a lot of sexism and misogyny, and people not wanting to give her respect as a Black woman minister, and not wanting to let her into the positions that she was trying to get into. And people even being resistant to my grandmother. My grandmother was one of the first people that was like, we need to introduce virtual church services. We need to introduce streaming. We need to start doing stuff online to try to like bring the young people in.
Yeah.
We need to make our space more inclusive. We need to have more women in leadership positions. We need to have more LGBT in leadership positions.
Yeah.
And people was just like, people in the church was just not trying to hear it.
Yeah.
And they low-key forced her into retirement. And she was like, fine, fuck y'all. Like,
thanks.
I'm out. Like, I'm going back to DC. And so, like, as somebody that's kind of, like, seen both sides of it, like, for me, like, I hate when people be like, I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
But for me personally, like, I did sort of have to kind of, like, I always say, like, oh, I believe in the universe.
Yeah.
Because I do, like, and I believe that the universe is, like, alley-oop some things my way.
No, fact, for sure.
And I've been in some situations that somebody had to be looking out for me because, like, I should be dead. Like,
no, same.
I should be dead or kidnapped or, like, I've been in some wild as fuck situations. Like, some wild shit has happened to me in my life. Like, somebody had to be looking out for me. Like, I got a little angel over my shoulder or something. But I also, like, you know, like, I have my chains over there and, like, I have a black aventurine. I have a green aventurine chain for protection. I have a black tourmaline chain for protection, banishment of negativity. Like, I have a rose quartz chain for love. I have a purple amethyst chain for intuition. I have a clear quartz chain for clarity of thought. And I meditate and I light candles and but I also believe in, like, I'm very superstitious, like my mother. So, like, my mother's not religious, but my mother's very superstitious.
Yeah, okay.
Like, my mother, and I'm superstitious because that's how I was raised, really.
So, like don't split the pole.
Oh, don't split the pole. I will not. If somebody tried to split the pole, like, he will
it's
tell
funny
you.
because I split the
I
pole.
will walk. I will literally stop and I will wait and see which way you gonna go. And then I'm gonna go that way. Like, no splitting the pole, no walking under ladders, don't open umbrellas in the house, don't wear hats in the house.
I don't like mirrors in the bedroom.
I don't like mirrors in the bedroom.
There's something about that makes me like,
I don't like mirrors in the bedroom. No whistling in the house. Don't put your purse on the floor.
Yeah, you can't put your money on the floor.
No, don't sleep with the door open because they say a door that's ajar. You letting spirits in.
I agree. Me and my mom on the same page.
And so it's funny that, like, my mother would even say that she's not religious. Like, my mother would even, if I ask my mom right now, like, she'll be like, oh, I'm agnostic. And it's just like, but you believe in something because you're so highly superstitious. And so I do think that there's a lot of us that we feel something, even if we don't really know what it is, even if, like, my mother says she's agnostic, like, she doesn't believe in Jesus Christ. It's like, but you believe that if we break a mirror in the house, we're going to have bad luck. You believe that if we walk under a ladder, or if we open an umbrella in the house, or if I put your purse on the floor, or if I sweep over your feet, if I sweep over my mother's feet, she will really lose it. Like, she will throw a fit. Like, I can't believe you just did that.
Yeah, I don't like people shoot my feet.
No, or like, don't let two people do your hair at once. Like, so it's just like, I think a lot of us do feel, like, we feel something. Yeah. We feel something.
And I mean, that you feel something because there is something, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, I even, like, my mom, you know, her being a Christian, but even she would say she's not religious. You know what I'm saying? She would say something like Christ-like, or something. She'll have, like, this explanation on why, like, her and her, group of Christians or whatever, like, they don't subscribe to religion. But I'm like, in my mind, like, I think they still do subscribe to the religion because I just think that there's things subconsciously that you don't know how to pay attention to, that you don't know how to put attention on that yet, or maybe there's something that tells you, like, not to deal with that. You know, but, and I don't want to, like,
that feeling, your little gut feeling.
Yeah, and I don't ever want it to make it seem like I'm disrespectful, like I'm trying to disrespect Christianity, but I just know that I just believe that we need to be honest about what it's doing to us.
No, I agree,
like, we really, and if we come together as a people and decide, like, hey, this is what it is for us, then, and I think that people have already made that decision of, like, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to pull people away from Christianity, because I want you to do whatever makes you feel free, but at the same time, like, if we're going to talk this togetherness, we have to, like, we're not going to get nowhere if, like, oh, you're a Christian, but I don't believe in Christianity, because now you're going to feel some personal way. We have to find some type of common ground, like, without the opinions of anybody else who's not a Black American. You know what I'm saying? We have to find like our own voice as you know what I'm saying, and really stand behind what it is that we want. You know, because if LeBron, just to go back to that for example, like if he did, okay, I'm not playing 20 games. Yeah, I might not get my check. I might have some endorsements taken away,
some fines.
But that the power that he has to support the fan base that he has, he would have been fine. And let 10 more other players get behind you, not just basketball. But man, we could have really seen something from that. You know what I'm saying? We can't be like, and if we had more trust, if we actually would have each other's back, we wouldn't have to worry about not being able to pay bills. We wouldn't have to worry about missing any meals. You know what I'm saying? Because when one come down, you got a million others to pick you up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
I agree.
We just have to be honest, and I don't ever want to get caught up in, even when I watch TV and I watch social media or the news or whatever, I feel like I'm getting caught up in this cycle on like what's new, like what's everybody talking about, what's the new thing, and I don't want to get caught up in that. And if you see me, you're gonna see me riding by myself. You know what I'm saying? If you see Jerryn anywhere, you're gonna see Jerryn in the car by himself. It's not saying I don't have friends. It's not to say that I don't have like a group of people that I hang out with or have loved ones, but it's just really saying that like what I believe should be represented, I don't really see anybody doing that, and I don't want to, and me being around certain groups of people, I feel like that's going to fall over into how I live my life, you know what I'm saying? So you see me, I'm an individual, but I'm serious about what I represent, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no folding over here, there's no backtracking over here, you know what I'm saying? I'm about Black American, I love being a Black American, and by being a Black American, I've been extremely hurt in my lifetime, you know what I'm saying? And I know that there's others that's been hurt too, and from you making your channel, obviously you were hurt, and, you know, from people you work with, you know, it's all coming from a place of like being hurt and not being heard, and we just really need to be honest about what's going on. And I think that it's hard for us to be honest about what's going on because we're emotionally connected to everything that we're emotionally connected to the TV, we're emotionally connected to the radio, we're emotionally connected to these celebrities. And until we stop, and as much as I love entertainment, because I'm an entertainer myself, and as much as I respect it, you know, entertainers aren't activists, and even when they try to embrace it, and even when they try to like channel it, I look at...
I feel like you have to go all in. I kind of feel like you have to go all in or not at all. Like, I fuck with LeBron. I fuck with his I Promise school. I fuck with
I went to a charter school, so I fuck with that. I
fuck with a lot of what LeBron is about and what he's trying to do and what he's trying to accomplish. I feel like I see his vision. I see his sort of goal. I see his sort of bigger picture. But at the end of the day, I do also feel like LeBron is still an athlete. And LeBron does still have certain things that he wants. Like, LeBron does still want a ring. Yeah, so he is still susceptible to somebody being like, well, if you don't play games, then you're not going to get your ring. And that's going to give him pause.
No, facts. Oh, well, MJ got 6, so he only got 4. So, and then now he got to live the rest of his life hearing, that he didn't live up to that. And I don't know. That's another thing that I wish we would kind of free ourselves from is like this. Who made this ideal what success is? You know what I'm saying? Who made this ideal on what's great art or what's the most popular thing?
What does a ring even represent?
Yeah,
really?
what does it represent?
Right.
Like come on, what did you having 6, 5, 4 rings represent? You know, like I love sports. I grew up on sports, but I really don't even watch sports like that no more because I jump in from time to time, but I really don't watch it no more because like it's fucking with me mentally. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't see. I see a lot of time being wasted, and I hate. And again, like that's like some would say that's negative or like that's channeling like the negative side of things. But I think that cloud is over the positive. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I see this rat race. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the rat race, and even with work. Again, I will talk about my job. I'll do contract work or I'll do driving, but there's times where I'm not working. You know what I'm saying? It's not because I can't find work. It's times because I need time to myself because I don't believe in the rat race. I want money. I love money. You know what I'm saying? I love to shop. I love to hustle. I've hustled plenty of times. I've done things, but ultimately I don't want to, I struggle with that because you got to get out there and make a living. You know what I'm saying? You got to get out. You have dreams and you have goals, but you also know that like capitalism is like, the devil. Like, you know
it
what I'm
is.
saying?
Capitalism is the devil.
It's like
and it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable, and it's like, what am I working towards? You know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously you're working towards like your dreams and your goals and things that you feel internally, but it's so easy to get caught up in this world because we are part of this world. We are being taken care for of this by this system, and it's like, you know, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see like where we're at in the next 50 years. It's gonna be interesting to see where I'm at in the next 50 years.
It's gonna be interesting to see where I'm at in the next 10 years.
No, facts. Because the older I get, the more I feel like this warrior spirit in me is just like, nope, fuck that, nigga.
Yes.
Like, no, like, you don't like me, I don't give a fuck. Like,
that's how I feel too.
Like, if you really have a problem, okay, run up. But I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna go out my way to be confrontational. But man, this shit that y'all doing, like, I don't want to be a slave no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just made that decision like a while ago and again, this is when you're on this side of things, you're kind of on the side of like being talked about or not being.
It's the lonely side.
Yeah, it's a lonely side, but I mean, shit, I was built for it in terms of things that
I'm only child, so you know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I could
be on the lonely side.
Yeah, I felt lonely. I've been feeling like, you know, lonely to a certain extent my whole life. So it's really, you know, I'm at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, and there's times when I go against myself where it's like, I'll have a thought and I'm like, okay, that's not really. I have to like think about it. Do I want that because I really want that, or that's because that's what I know? And a lot of times it's what I know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know. I just want more honesty, man. I think by being honesty, even if, because we're not always agree. No one's ever gonna agree 100%. But I think we just really have to be honest about what's going on out here, and until we're honest about, and not just like and not just honesty about protests and things. Do whatever makes you feel good. But I want that real honesty. I want that honesty that's going to make motherfuckers cry. I want that honesty that's going to make people angry. I want honesty that's going to even, be mad at me if I say something, you know what I'm saying? Because I've had to, what's the word I'm looking for is relearn some things in terms of, how
unlearn.
Yeah, in terms
unlearn.
of how
it's a process.
Yeah, how I approach women or how I approach money. I've had to relearn and learn a lot of things. But I'm at a peaceful place. But it's hard to be at a peaceful place when you kind of know what's
going on.
Yeah, because
you have to find inner peace. And I feel like I like that you focus on honesty, because I also feel like honesty is sort of like the first step to inner peace, because like, you have to be honest. Like, a lot of what we've been talking about, I think, has boiled down to like fear, and a lot of fears that we have as a collective, as an ethnic group. And one of the first steps to letting go of fear and embracing change and finding peace within yourself is being honest with yourself.
For sure.
And I feel like a lot of people are not honest, and because they're not honest, they're confused. There's like a lot of confusion. And people feeling like, I don't understand. Like anytime I see people, like all last summer when people were like, I don't understand. I can't believe George Floyd. I can't believe this is still happening in the United States. It's like, you really can't believe, like, let's be honest.
Like, you're so full of shit.
Like, let's be honest. Or if you really couldn't believe it, even after Mike Brown and Ferguson in 2014, even after Freddie Gray and the Baltimore uprising in 2015.
And the way they did Mike Brown was so dirty.
Even after Trayvon Martin in 2012 and this fucking fat ass Zimmerman fucking getting off, for you to really be like, I don't understand, I don't get it. Like, number one, you're just not being honest, or you're just fucking delusional. You need to wake up. Take your head out the sand, clear out your ears.
I think they're just not being honest.
And be oh, my ears dirty. Ooh, and be honest, and just be honest. And that's really, I really do think like that's the first step, because also once you're honest with yourself and you're honest with other people, is it gonna make people mad? Yes. It's gonna piss people off. People not gonna like you. Whatever. But if you know that you're being honest, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
And that's how you sort of get on that first step to inner peace. And that's also, I think, how you start letting go of fear. And I think that is a huge part of us being able to move forward as a group and as a collective. These are all things that have to take place.
I also think that I would say this. I think that when you talk about, like, when you hear things like the first black president or like the first this, like, I don't get caught up in those things, and like some would say that like I'm being disrespectful towards people who accomplish things, because I'm not against success. I love to see successful black women. I love to see anybody who work hard towards anything, who believes in something. I love to see you accomplish whatever it is that you're working towards. But at the same time, it's like,
it's kind of like, does it matter if you're the first if you're also the last?
It's like, but who's creating this?
And who's creating the standard? The metrics.
Yeah, it's like the metrics, and it's like, okay, the white man. It's like this all white man thing. It's like this Caucasian man in everybody's head, subconsciously in everybody's head, who has everyone living.
Toni Morrison literally said this in that Do Your Work a speech that she gave. She said that people literally have an invisible white person sitting on their shoulder,
no facts,
talking in their ear, and that
like a little puppet on a string.
Yes, and that a lot of what we do, everything we do, for a lot of people, is filtered through this white gaze, and
that's through everything. It's through our families, it's through business, it's through whatever we're pursuing in life. It's literally in every aspect on how we're living. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, it should be interesting to see how this all plays out in terms of
it will be
the next 100 years. You know what I'm saying? Because
things are very interesting.
Things are getting, but I'm with it, man. I'm not with it in terms of like wanting a war, but I'm with it in terms of like, this is what I represent, and whether, you know, life or death, this is what I represent. And I also don't look at death as a lot of other people look at death, so I'm not really fazed by that. So it's just, you know, I don't wish people would think like me, because we're all different, but I just wish that we can all, which beans, bacon things are a great start, great start. Even when you get into it, like Bruno or all these other fucking coons out here.
It's sort of creating dialogue, creating community, creating space, and that's what I want to do. And that's what I want to continue to do. That's what I'm going to continue to do. Like I said, 7 years for me on YouTube this year. I can't believe it. Like the better part of a decade. Can't believe it. And I'm really curious to see how the next, 7 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, how things
only gonna
play
get better.
out.
We only gonna get better at this shit.
It just seems like it's snowballing now. So I'm an optimist.
Do you ever feel like I don't say do you feel like a celeb, but do you feel like a person? Do you consider yourself like a personnel? Like
no, I don't.
You don't.
I always say like I'm a regular person.
For sure,
and people be like, no, like you're internet famous, or like you're known, but no, I just feel like I'm a regular person, and I don't know. I feel like I say the things that a lot of people think, but they're too scared to say. Yeah, like they don't want to say. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the stuff that I say, I don't even really feel like is that far fetched. Like a lot of the stuff that I say is stuff that I've heard my mother say. Yeah. It's stuff that I've heard my grandmother say. Yeah. It's stuff that I've heard my uncle say, my aunts, my cousins. That's part of why I love the Black Americans. It's stuff that I've, while we sitting around playing cards, this is the type of shit that we say to each other, and I feel like that's just the type of stuff that I say, but I just sort of stay on a platform, and I think a lot of people kind of gravitate towards me for that reason, because it's like, again, it's a cultural thing, it's a familiarity, it's our ethnic group, it's our communal sort of experience, and for a long time, I just think that narrative was not, and is still not being heard, like, or being pushed, or
it's
our
always
voices.
Like this. It's always like this redirection when we try to like express ourselves. Oh, but wait. Oh, but this. You know what I'm saying?
What about this? What about this? All lives matter. Da 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 da. And so, but like again, like ultimately, I'm just trying to be honest, because I feel like that's what we need to move forward, and I want to move forward. Like I want liberation. I want liberation for Black Americans. That's it. Like. Too. I don't want no piecemeal. I don't want no little bit of this, little bit of... Nah, I want liberation. So, however, whatever, I'm down for whatever to get there. Again, same as what you just said. Not that I want violence, or not that I want anything negative, but...
Historically speaking, if any change was to really come, like a revolution...
Yeah, like I want liberation. So, however we gonna get there is however we gonna get there. And that's what I want. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing within the next... So however long it takes.
Do we need others' help or no?
I say no.
You say no?
No.
You say no.
The only thing I would say that we need and deserve and are going to get from the United States government is reparations. And then once we get our reparations, motherfuckers could leave us alone. And we could work shit out amongst ourselves. and that's it.
Let us have that option of having our own shit.
Yes. When people say that, like, well, you have to be nice to white people because we need white people, or we need this others, POC, I don't believe that. No, I don't subscribe to that.
We have to be nice to white. I don't
that's what people say.
Yeah, I don't.
That's what people say, but I just don't. I
Me
don't
not
believe
being
that.
nice doesn't mean I'm not being. It doesn't mean I'm being mean. It just means I'm not kissing your ass and making you feel more comfortable.
And I'm not going to.
Yeah, I don't want to make you. I don't want to make white people feel more comfortable. I don't want to make nobody feel more comfortable other than a Black American.
Yeah,
you know
that's it. That's the only thing that's the only thing I care about is Black Americans.
Because sadly, I'm at that point in my life now where it's just like I only really care about Black Americans too.
Yeah.
Not to say that.
But people take that as if you're wishing bad on other people.
No,
and it's like I'm not wishing bad on anyone.
We're wishing better for ourselves.
I just want the best for myself,
you know
right?
Because
and my people.
You guys are gonna look out for each other.
Yes.
You guys are in our neighborhoods, and y'all don't even live in these neighborhoods.
Right.
But all your businesses are in these neighborhoods, and you're going straight back to your neighborhood. And you're gonna send it back to your family members or whoever needs it, and it's. Nah, y'all looking out for each other.
So we're gonna do the same, and yeah, I'm looking forward to see how things go in the long run.
People get mad because we don't want to be slaves no more.
And you know what? We can wrap it up right there. People mad because we don't be slaves no more. And
facts, fuck that. Fuck that.
Slavery's over.
Over.
And we can stop right there. That was a great closer. That was perfect. Perfect. Right on time.
That was dope.